if they don't make it to the finals, then this might be one of the biggest L's in NBA history.
Hot topics.
Embiid never had the mentality to win a championship. I don't think he ever will win a championship.
The best analysis.
But Jokic, he might be the best player in the league this season. He really might be the MVP.
This is the Full Court Report.
And we're back. Episode number 37 of this 2024-2025 NBA season. How you fellas doing?
Doing good.
Doing pretty good. How are you doing, Jorie?
I'm doing great.
Recovering?
Hey,
Yeah.
guys, grieving.
You know, this is right after the Nuggets have been ousted in the playoffs. Game 7 took that L to the Thunder. Pretty bad loss, but I'm already on the beach with the rest of the team, so we already made it to Cancun. Spencer and I saw Spencer the other day, so
Yeah,
we're
the
already
Grizzlies
here.
have been here for a minute.
Yeah,
Weather's
so,
nice though. Can't complain.
But yeah, no, and I mean, all seriousness, it's getting down to it, the nitty gritty, the Final Four, as they might call it, in the conference finals are set. But I think we should start in the Western Conference. That game, like I just mentioned, it just ended. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be facing the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder in this Northwest Division showdown. Minnesota, last year they made it to a conference finals, but they are seeking their first trip to the NBA Finals in franchise history, whereas the Thunder would be making their 5th finals appearance, if you include their 3 trips to the finals as the Supersonics. But only one time did they make the finals in Oklahoma City. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like we can just jump right into the series. I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts overall, but I mean, I don't know. What advantages do you guys think each team will bring to this series? I think it's going to be a pretty physical series, a pretty defensive-heavy series, but I don't know. Justin, we can start with you.
I'll start with the Thunder. They got a very deep roster. They're all young and athletic. Most of them can space the floor pretty well. I think that youth and athleticism is going to help with being aggressive on defense, maybe gambling a little bit for loose balls or, getting in the passing lanes. And obviously that helps them get out in transition. I just feel like the Thunder, obviously they were the best team in the league throughout the regular season, 68 wins. They know what they're doing, but I've been saying it this whole time. Playoffs are a different kind of game, and I feel like experience wins out most times, and that is basically what I think the T-Wolves have over the Thunder. They have experience and, in my opinion, strength and size. They made the Western Conference Finals last year, so they've been to this point literally last year. They know, they can make adjustments from what they did last year and help get them over the hump. And like I said, they have a lot more size and strength, I feel like, than OKC. They got Randall, McDaniels, Gobert. Those are some big bodies. So, I think they'll have the edge on rebounding and, kind of playing down low, close to the basket in general, both sides. So, like you said, Jory, this is going to be, a pretty defensive series, I feel like. I feel like whoever can play better defense is going to come out on top. Both, aggressive in their own ways, have a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences. They both have a superstar, player on their team, SGA and Anthony Edwards, and then they have all-star Robins, like I always like to say. They got Julius Randle and Jalen Williams. So, like I just said, pretty similar, but they got a couple differences, and I feel like the key to winning the series for either side is, kind of exploiting what you do differently and taking advantage of it. But I have a little bit of bias in play. I kind of want to see a T-Wolves Knicks finals, so I'm going to go ahead and say T-Wolves in 7.
Okay. Spencer, you want to go?
Yeah, I can. I think the Thunder have a really deep team, like you were saying, Justin, and their rare combination of having like that many great 3 and D role players that don't really need the ball in their hands, like SGA and Jalen Williams might, to be able to get good shots, really helps their team. Uh, I think the Timberwolves might struggle at times, like offensively, like getting buckets on a team like that. Because if Ant's not scoring and Julius Randle, I don't think he's gonna cook the way that he was cooking against the who they play in the last round.
The
Drawing a blank.
Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors. I don't know how I can't see the team's logo. But yeah, he was frying against the Warriors, and I don't think he's gonna be able to ball like that against the Thunder. Chet's gonna have something to say.
Yeah, you might be right.
But I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I got the Thunder in 6.
Wow.
All right. I agree with that, Spencer. I feel like this will be in my opinion, I think it's going to be an easier opponent for OKC than the Nuggets were. Only because obviously, and not to glaze or anything, but Nikola Jokic he's a different animal. And when they spend all that time either focusing on how to stop every other player besides Jokic or just focus on Jokic, I feel like it's not as much of a threat with the Timberwolves. I feel like, obviously Julius Randle is going to do his thing. But that OKC defense is it's one of the craziest defenses I've honestly ever seen. They might be a little bit undersized as far as having a big man or whatnot, but like I said, they just beat the Nuggets. I like Thunder in 6, and I don't think the experience is going to play as much of a factor. Obviously, the Timberwolves, made it pretty far last year, but they're still a young team as well. And I think it just comes down to, the competitive edge. Obviously, OKC is going to have home court advantage. And honestly, this is probably one of the most excited I've been for, for a playoff series. So I like OKC in 6. And then, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, we all talked about it. This is going to be a defensive first series. These are the two best, in terms of points per 100 possessions at least, the two remaining teams defensively speaking. OKC allowing just 104.2 points per 100 possessions. The T-Wolves at 108.1. So that ranks first and second. They also rank first and second in opponent turnovers. And they also rank first and third in opponent field goal percentage. So I would just say bet the under on all these games. But I don't know. I think, Toby, you said it. I watched it firsthand with the Nuggets series. This Thunder defense is just something else. So often the Nuggets had trouble just initiating their offense. Bringing the ball up the floor was a problem a lot of the times. And then with Jokic, a lot of the times they didn't even defend him with a traditional center like Chet or Isaiah Hartenstein. A lot of the times the matchup was like Alex Caruso or Jalen Williams, and he was just being really physical with Jokic, denying the ball, can't even dribble around him because he's going to poke the ball free. And pretty much as soon as Jokic would receive a pass, everyone in the defense collapsed on him. There was nothing he could do. So I kind of just see this Oklahoma City defense as just like a vice grip or like a beehive. They're just constantly swarming, collapsing whenever the opportunity presents itself. Whereas Minnesota is more of like that traditional man-to-man, everyone guard your own guy. And then we're going to filter everything to Rudy Gobert, who's obviously one of the best rim protectors in the league. So I'm really curious to see the chess match between these two teams. Obviously, they're pretty familiar with one another. They played each other a handful of times in the regular season. But I think, like you said, Justin, it's going to come down to whichever Robin or whichever supporting cast kind of steps up more. I don't know. I think Jalen Williams was getting a lot of flack in the Nuggets series for not really showing up. I forget which game it was. We did have one pretty good game, but for the most part, I felt like Jalen Williams was kind of underperforming against the Nuggets. I think Chet Holmgren could have a pretty good series in this one. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think SGA and Ant Man are pretty much gonna cancel each other out in a way, at least offensively. And I think it's just gonna come down to whoever else can step up. So I don't know. I think I might agree with Spencer and Toby. I think it's gonna be Thunder in six. There's just something about this Thunder team that makes me believe. Obviously, they're led by, in my opinion, the presumptive MVP. I don't know how it hasn't been announced yet, but I don't know. I just feel like they have all the makings of a finals team, and I love the Thunder, or I love the Timberwolves and what they've accomplished this year. But I just feel like Oklahoma City is just on another level right now.
I can't believe it. Can't believe I'm the only guy pulling for the Timberwolves.
And I was saying all year, like I thought Minnesota would be able to come out of the West, but I don't know. I just feel like this Thunder team is just has another gear.
I
We'll
mean,
see.
they still can. It's still like like Anthony Edwards, I think, just has that competitive nature to him where he doesn't care if he's the underdog. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's just gonna try to win every game, and it's gonna be fun because I think this is kind of like a big series as far as who's the quote unquote face of the league moving forward, Shea or Ant Edwards. So I think obviously I think they're gonna be barking at each other at some point in this series, and it's gonna make for some classic moments, I think.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm hoping it's a really good series. I want it to go to 7 games. I mean, I love the drama.
Yeah, I expect it to be a good series. I think legacies are on the line, and it is gonna come down to whose supporting cast is gonna show up with them.
I don't
But
know.
it's gonna be good.
I don't know about legacies on the line.
I
Maybe
mean, think about it. Like LeBron leaving in the first round, Steph Curry not making it to the finals either. Like the face of the NBA is wide open basically. Whoever
yeah,
can
I thought
get
you
to the
meant
finals and like really make a name for themselves, even bigger than they obviously already have to this point, there's like there's a big opportunity there, I think.
I thought you meant just like between Ant and SGA. Like
Oh no, I don't
they
think
still
their
got
careers are gonna
plenty
get
of career
ruined off
left.
of this,
I was
but
gonna say.
I
I
mean,
think
oh,
Ant
go
could
ahead.
definitely put himself like as a clear number one for face of the league if he
I
makes
feel
it to
like
the
either one of
finals
them
and could
could.
win.
I feel like either one of them could, especially if SGA gets the MVP.
Exactly.
I think
It's gonna be good.
I think so often though we think, oh well, it's a young team, or SGA and Ant Man, they're young guys. Like they'll be back, right? Like they'll be back to this point where they're competing for a title. But like, especially nowadays, I saw a really interesting stat after the Nuggets lost, that this is going to be the first time in NBA history where a 7 year span had seven different NBA champions. So, we talked, I think, last week about just like parity in the NBA. Like, it's pretty much, you know, teams are not repeating anymore. It's hard to stay competitive, like, over the course of, so many years and build dynasties. So, I kind of feel like Spencer is right in a sense where it's like they kind of have to make their name for themselves right now because you don't know what the future holds. But I don't know. Like you said, Toby, Anthony Edwards has like another competitive edge to him. Like he's been on a tear recently, like last season, taking out the Kevin Durant and the Suns, and then obviously the reigning champion Nuggets, and then this year taking down Luca and LeBron in the first round, and then unfortunately a Stephless Warriors team. But like I don't know, he just feels like he brings it to another level when the playoffs come around. So I'm not saying that it's they're it's a guarantee that the Thunder are gonna win, but I'm kind of riding with Oklahoma City. But I don't know, this it's gonna be a very physical series, and it's just gonna be a blast to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need them mic'd up for everything they're saying on the
Yeah,
court.
yeah.
Oh
I'm sure the
yeah,
trash talk's gonna be elite.
exactly. Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun, definitely. And yeah, shout out these playoffs have been really good. So yeah, excited
When
to see
is
what
real quick?
happens.
When is game one?
Game one, I believe, is on Tuesday for the Western
Oh,
Conference Finals. So that would give, I guess, the Thunder just one day off to really get prepared. Luckily, they have home court advantage, I guess, so they don't have to travel to Minnesota. But still, I could, who knows, the waning effects that could have, after playing a 7-game series. Minnesota's been resting a little bit, so who knows what could happen. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I'm sure, Justin, you're eager to talk about this Eastern Conference Finals. The New York Knicks, they're going to be hosting the Indiana Pacers in a rematch of last year's conference semifinals, which was a really good series. But yes, game 1 of this Eastern Conference Finals is on Wednesday. This is the 9th playoff series between these two franchises. They had a lot of playoff battles in the 90s. And then I think obviously one last year, and then back when like Melo and Paul George were on those teams. So, but New York, they're seeking their first finals appearance since 1999 when they lost to San Antonio, and then the Pacers since 2000 when they lost to Kobe and Shaq and the Lakers. So I don't know, pretty much the same deal. What do you guys expect from this series? Again, there's a bad blood between these two teams, I think, so it's going to make for a really good and fun watch. But what do you guys think?
I'll let all you guys go. I'm gonna save myself for that.
Toby, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. I think it's going to be tough for the Knicks. I think it might be a repeat of last year.
Oh, please.
But I think there's a good chance we see a 7-game series. I think the Pacers, I think they just know how to beat the Knicks. I think they match up pretty well as far as defensive matchups, and I think the Knicks are going to have a harder time guarding them. The Celtics, obviously, I think for much of that series, were just kind of chucking up threes. This is a pretty good 3-point shooting team. They play good defense. They get a lot of rebounds too. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think the Pacers are going to win.
How many games?
I say 7. I say it's going to go full 7.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting series. I think the Pacers play really great team basketball where they don't really ever rely on one guy to just go nuclear to win them a game. So they're always going to be competitive. I think sometimes the Knicks struggle against the Celtics when Jalen Brunson wasn't going. And if that trend kind of continues, it could be difficult for them against a Pacers team that knows how to play so cohesively. But I do have the Knicks winning the series, though. Knicks in 7.
What up, Woods?
All right. No, I think you're right, Spencer. Like what you said about the Pacers, kind of. I don't know. I feel like they call it depth, but I don't know if it's necessarily depth because they're really only playing like 8 players, and I feel like a lot of teams can play 8 players like pretty comfortably. But in the playoffs this year, their leading scorer is Pascal Siakam at 18.8 points per game, and then 8th on the roster is Obi Toppin at 8.5. So it's like they really don't have like you said, a top end superstar who's the number one option every single night. It really comes in like different ways. Like some nights it's Pascal, some nights it's Halliburton, some nights it's Miles Turner, some nights it's Andrew Nemhard. So I think that's what makes Indiana like so difficult to defend, because you really can't game plan for this team because you don't know who's going to be the number one option that night. So I don't know. I think that advantage, that's like one advantage that Indiana can bring. Also, I think Indiana has been incredibly efficient in the first 2 rounds. And again, a lot has been made of their playoff run because they faced the injured Milwaukee team and then an injured Cleveland team. So, take that with a grain of salt if you want. But as a team, they have an effective field goal percentage of 58.3%, which would be, if it ended today, the highest in NBA history for a single playoff run. So I think you can credit that to Rick Carlisle as a coach, like knowing how to get guys open and, just offense and stuff. Halliburton being one of the best playmakers in the NBA, getting his teammates open. But also, like we said, just struggling to game plan against a team that has so many different options because you really don't know who the focal point is. But looking at it from a New York perspective, I think Cat could have maybe his best series of the playoffs under the right circumstances. Against Boston in 6 games, he only made 3 3-pointers, which, wasn't, obviously that's kind of like his calling card, being one of the best big or 3-point shooting bigs in NBA history. But I really like his matchup again, or his potential matchup, I guess, against Miles Turner, who isn't the most mobile center. And I feel like Cat against Boston a lot of the times looked really comfortable, like putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim, drawing fouls. So I feel like Cat could be the difference in this series because I think you're obviously going to get what you get from Brunson regardless of who they play. But I think he's definitely going to have to step up. We talked about the Timberwolves and Thunder's supporting cast. I think they're really going to need a big series from Cat. And I also like the rebounding advantage that New York has. And I think I mentioned it last week with Mitchell Robinson coming in and making a huge impact. New York is averaging 12 offensive rebounds per game this year in the playoffs. And I think some of those extra possessions are going to go a long way in this series. So all that being said, I'm going to say Knicks in 7. Knicks in 7. I think they're going to get revenge.
Like to hear it.
I think they're going to get revenge from last year. I don't know. I don't want to discredit Indiana's playoff run, but I feel like you do have to really, take into consideration that they played 2 teams, like I said, the Bucks without Dame, and then the Cavs without Darius Garland, a handful of games, Evan Mobley, 1 game, DeAndre Hunter, etc. So I just felt like now that they have to, one, go on the road and face a pretty much healthy Knicks team, or at least everyone is out there. I don't know if everyone is 100%, but I don't know. And obviously, I'm sure they have a bad taste in their mouth from last year, what happened last year. So I think the Knicks are going to go in there and get the job done.
You don't think that last year gives the Pacers a little bit of confidence boost going into the series?
I mean, it
Obviously,
definitely.
I think
They
it
have
is,
Cat,
but I don't
obviously,
think this
now.
is the same Knicks team.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like I don't think, obviously you bring Cat into the equation, McHale into the equation. So like the Knicks are a little bit different. And I mean, I don't know. Last year they kept it pretty competitive despite OG Anunoby, I think, playing on like one leg. I think he had like a hamstring injury. I forget who else was injured in that series. Randall was obviously out for like the whole playoffs. So like, I don't know. I feel like the Knicks. This just feels like there's a certain energy in New York right now. I don't know. All the fans at the games. It seems like. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the city's buzzing. But I
They're
did
about to
think it
be-
was
they're
interesting
about to
your
be
point
furious.
about Karl Anthony Towns versus Miles Turner, that matchup. Because I really feel like that's going to be a point of like confidence for the Pacers, like having Miles Turner to match up with Cat. Like I think he might be the best individual like center defender that the Knicks have played so far. Like I think he's a better defender than Kristaps and Luke Cornett.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe even in the Pistons series, you could say like, I just feel
Yeah, they
like
have
Cat.
Jalen Duren.
Yeah, I just feel like Cat is just super versatile, and like I think Miles Turner could make it a little difficult for Cat defensively, but I just feel like Cat can really hold his own and make it difficult because also, they don't really have a lot of center depth, Indiana. So like if Miles Turner
That's
is
true.
dealing with foul trouble, like they pretty much have to change
Run
all the
Obi.
matchups around. They're gonna have to put like Pascal on him, and then that obviously will shift everything. So who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think I don't know if it's gonna be barbecue chicken though for Cat. He's gonna have to work.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. You're definitely right.
I'm gonna get into that, but I'm gonna start with the Pacers. Because I gotta give them credit. They might have played some injured teams, but I mean, we played 3 and 3/4 games against the Celtics fully healthy, and then sadly Tatum went down, but we were still winning that game regardless of what he went down or not. So it doesn't even matter. The Knicks were up 3-1 before that. So but yeah, the Pacers, like you guys all said, really deep team. I feel like they basically have like 2 starting lineups worth of players. Like, TJ McConnell can come in and handle it when Hallie's out. They have those 3 wings, Naismith, Nemhard, and Benedict Mathurin. They're all play both ends, good shooters. Um, but yeah, they're super deep. They have that underdog mentality. I feel like they have been the lower seed in every matchup so far. The whole storyline with Halliburton being voted most overrated player in the league. Um, there's just a lot of people. I feel like they've had a lot of doubt on him throughout the playoffs, but this has been basically their theme since they traded for Halliburton. They're one of the fastest offenses in the league. It's just run and gun. You take one shot. We don't even need rebounders. We're just gonna put up more shots than the other team and hope we outscore them. And it's been working so far. Obviously they play defense. Miles Turner, like you said, Spencer, he's one of the best just defending big men in the league. Naismith is a good defender. Mathurin's a good defender. So they got a squad. They didn't win for no reason. Even if they weren't playing fully healthy teams, you still got to go out there and do your job. Like you guys said, they beat the Knicks last year in the playoffs. So, I don't agree with Toby, but maybe they do know how to beat the Knicks. Maybe they just know. Maybe they got the secret formula. But my Knicks, man, we're too nice. We're just too good. We got the star power. We got the grit. We've been through a lot of adversity, somewhat through this playoff series, multiple 20-point comebacks against the reigning champion. And we've kind of played 2 different teams, like 2 very different teams. Detroit was real physical and just a tough team. They were trying to bring back that Bad Boys Pistons vibe, just a lot of bumping, shoving, a lot of hustling. And then we played the, floor spacing 73s in a game Boston Celtics, and we held our own against both of them. We were able to match the physicality and the tempo of both teams. So, um, you know, both series went to 6 games. There's been close games, overtime games. The Knicks have been blown out. We blew out the Celtics. So, I just feel like we've been through a lot of different types of games throughout the playoffs, and we're ready for anything. So, with that all being said, I think the magic words this offseason or this postseason has been Knicks and 6, baby. I'm going to say Knicks and 6.
All right. Well, I got. If the Knicks win this series, is Jalen Brunson a better all-time Knick than Carmelo Anthony?
He already is. I hate to say it, but he already is.
Wow.
That's
I hate to say
crazy.
it, but he already
That's
is.
crazy.
Wow.
If he retires today, he's already a better Nick than Carmelo. Wow.
Interesting.
I hate to say it. I really hate to say it, but
Wow.
And if he wins a championship, is he the best Knick of all time? I don't know.
depends how long he can keep us competitive in the playoffs, because Patrick Ewing got us to the finals like 4 or 5 years in a row, or to the conference finals like 4 or 5 years in a row against Jordan. And when you think of Knicks in the playoffs, you think of Patrick Ewing. So at least in my opinion, Patrick Ewing is the greatest of all time. But dude, if Brunson gets a ring and then is still keeping us in the playoffs for the next couple of years, it's all his for the taking. But my point about Karl Anthony Towns and his matchups, you guys were talking about it. Nobody even mentioned what happens when Mitchell Robinson comes on the floor. They're gonna have to put Miles Turner on Mitchell Robinson, and that leaves Pascal Siakam to guard Cat. I feel like Cat is either gonna beat Miles Turner with his, off the dribble elusiveness, for a big man. And if he's matched up with Siakam, you just big body him in the post and get down low to the basket.
I think I feel like Siakam might actually have some success guarding Cat, but I think what would happen is that would change the matchup for like OG Anunoby, who could then, that would open the door for him to have, a better offensive night. So I feel like going big could present a lot of problems for Indiana. But obviously, like you said, the pace that they play at, who knows? Maybe that, maybe that runs Mitchell Robinson off the floor. But
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. It's going to be, like I said, a chess match between these two teams. I'm excited.
I saw a stat. I can't remember how many wins it was, but since the Knicks traded for OG Anunoby, anytime he attempts 14 or more field goals in a game, the Knicks are undefeated in the playoffs since we've had him on our team. So I feel like Cat and OG, at least for the Knicks, are going to be the keys to success because Brunson's going to do his thing. And honestly, I feel like Brunson might have a better series than he had against the Celtics because they had Jaylen Brown on Jalen Brunson for most of that series. I don't think, at least between Nembhard, Mathurin, and Naismith, I don't think any of them are as good of a defender as Jaylen Brown.
Don't sleep on Andrew Nembhard.
No,
This guy's
Dude,
I've had
sleeping. This
enough
guy's
of this. I've
sleeping.
had
Jorie.
enough of this guy. Andrew
Right
Nembhard,
before we
bro.
started filming, I was talking to Justin, and I'm like, dude, if there's one guy you got to watch out for, it's gonna be Andrew
Yeah,
Nembhard.
he's
Dude,
gonna make.
I was saying,
out of here with this Andrew
if there's
Nembhard.
anybody that's just like one of those guys in the NBA that can just catch fire randomly and just torch you, he's got to
Oh,
be up
trust me,
there on
he
that
knows.
list.
He knows from last year's experience.
I do remember from last year. I've had enough of this guy, bro.
Nah, I think he's gonna go insane.
I think
Yeah.
you're overestimating OG and Cat a little bit. I think they're gonna have a hard time with Siakam and Miles Turner.
I'm sure they will. I mean, both of these teams are in the conference finals for a reason. I'm sure. I mean, there's a high chance this game or this series does go 7 games, but come on, man. Knicks in 6. It's been the motto all postseason, bro. Knicks in 6.
We'll see.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I'm excited. And I think so. The Thunder, obviously, their Thunder, I guess, is a franchise. They've never won since they moved to Oklahoma City, never won a title. Neither have the Timberwolves, neither have the Pacers. And then the Knicks haven't won since, I think, 1973, is it? So, I don't know.
History
Obviously
is gonna
not.
be made.
Yeah, pretty much history is going to be made regardless of who wins the title. So, the rest of the playoffs are going to be very fun to watch. I mean, they have been up until this point, but very exciting.
Yeah, man.
But yeah. So I don't know. I feel like we kind of fleshed all that out. I think Justin said he wanted to do a blind ranking playoff edition.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna do blind rankings. I'm gonna name somebody. You got to put them. In this case, we're gonna do 4 guys because there's 4 teams left. I'm gonna pick one guy from each team for each round. We're gonna do 3 rounds. I'm gonna name a guy. You got to rank them 1 through 4 without knowing who's next. Pretty
All
simple
right.
stuff. We've done it before.
Yep.
So let's just get to it. I mean, how do you guys want to do it? You want to each do your own list, or do you guys want to kind of agree on one thing? Because last time when we kind of had to agree, you guys might have made some mistakes, but
Nah, we
you
did
gotta
good.
work
I think we should.
Yeah, let's
keep
do it
up.
as a group.
As a group, all right.
Let's talk it out.
All right. So round 1, OG Anunoby.
Oh, we're doing like multiple rounds.
Yeah, we're gonna do 3 rounds.
All right.
All right.
And this is
OG.
only players from the Timberwolves, Thunder,
Yeah.
Pacers, and Knicks.
So 1 through 4.
Yeah.
OG.
Mm.
I kind of like him
On
at
a
right
three?
at 3. I kind of like him right at 3.
At 3?
I think I'm with you.
I mean, he's a good player. He's not one of the stars, which I think Justin's going to give out.
I don't know.
But he's
I
not
kinda
also, a complete bum.
I kind of feel like he's gonna do like, the fringe role players on each team. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I don't know, but
I
I
can
guess
see that, but anything other
Nah,
than
nah.
like
You
2
know
would
what?
have to be the highest.
Don't think about nothing. Just take it at completely face value. I
All right,
tried
we
to.
can do 3.
It's not
like
like
3.
bias. I just picked random players. So
I
you
like
want
Let's
to
go
do
3.
We can do 3.
All right, your second player is Chet Holmgren.
Mm.
Chet.
I'm thinking
He might have to be 4.
4.
That's crazy.
No,
I like.
I was
Who else are we
thinking
gonna
1.
get though?
I was thinking 1. Wow. See, this
I
is
don't
why
know.
You think
I like OG a
is
lot.
better than Chet?
I mean, OG's been a killer, dude.
I mean, yeah, he has been playing well, but even I might have to say
I
Chet
was-
might be better than OG.
Well, then I think we should put OG at 2 then.
Well, we
No, you
can't
can't go
move
back on
OG.
OG. You can't go back on OG.
What do you mean? We didn't solidify a spot.
Nah, make Chet.
You put him at 3.
Make
You
Chet
put
2.
OG at 3.
Oh, I mean Chet. Sorry, I'm
Okay,
slow.
okay.
I like Chet at 2. I think Chet at 2. He's gonna give us a star.
All right,
I feel like
2.
All right, your third player is Jaden McDaniels.
4.
Yeah, 4.
5.
Sorry, Jaden. Nah, he's been good.
I don't
He's
know
been
why I was
actually really
expecting
good.
Justin to give us like superstars for like the rest of those
Well, there's
picks.
3 rounds. There's 3
He was-
rounds. You gotta wait.
I mean,
All right.
Shout out Jaden McDaniels. He was really good against the Lakers.
So you're having him at 4.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be a player to watch though in this
All
series.
right, that leaves your
All right.
number 1 spot to Pascal Siakam, which
Okay.
honestly I think I might agree with your list.
Okay,
Pascal.
Very valid.
I like that.
All right,
NBA
yeah,
champ.
not bad. So for round 1 through 4 was Pascal Siakam, Chet Holmgren, OG Anunoby, and Jaden McDaniels. I think I completely agree with that list.
Perfect list. 1 for 1.
Look at
Well
us.
done, boys. All right, round 2. Benedict Mathurin.
10.
10.
Nah, 2.
2.
I feel like this is on this list. Justin's gonna throw us a curveball.
Yeah, I like 3 though. I like 3
That's a safer pick.
because I feel like there's
I
gonna be
think-
borderline, Mathurin-esque players.
I think.
I can
Yeah, I'll
see
say
that.
3. I'll agree with 3.
All right.
I'm good with 3.
I have a feeling you guys are about to do my boy dirty, but Mitchell Robinson.
4.
Damn. I mean, yeah. Damn.
4.
I want to say 2. I feel like he's been really good, honestly. I mean, he hasn't been making free throws, but like,
Hey man, last game I
Every
think he shot 6 for 6.
okay. Every time he's
He might be 2. I just give him flack for always being unhealthy.
Yeah,
But if
me
we're just
too.
talking
I've
about,
just
like-
been a Mitch hater.
How they've been playing recently.
he's making an impact on both ends.
But who else is he gonna give us though?
I don't know.
All right.
Nah, I'm not a
do
Mitch
you think?
hater. I just feel like Justin's always giving that guy way more respect than he needs.
Let's do I want to do 4.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. You don't know who's coming up next.
Jorie, what do you say?
You want to go 2?
I kind of want to go 2, but I feel like that might be crazy. I feel like I don't know.
Nah, sometimes you got to risk it. We
Are
could
we
put him at
locking
2.
her in?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. This is a
All
bad
right, your
idea.
third player, Jalen Williams, the one with the cornrows. You know, the
Ooh.
good
All right, we got
J-Dub.
number
Number
1.
J-Dub.
Number 1.
One.
Yeah, I guess number 1.
Hooping. He's hooping, bro.
Dang, bro. Yeah, all right. You
Oh,
guys want to mess
gosh.
this one up. Julius Randle is going in at your 4 spot.
Damn it. I knew we should have put Mitchell Robinson at 4.
Well,
That's
would you have
Yeah, what up,
said
Mitch? What up, Mitch?
would you have said J-Dub over Randall? Or what?
Over Randall?
honestly, I got Julius right now. After that last series against the Warriors,
Yeah, I would probably have Julius.
he was
over-
shredding.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh well, my bad.
That was an L of a round.
Don't listen to me
Nah,
next
I
round.
tried to put what's his name at 2. We would have been cooked no matter what.
All right. We're gonna go out with a bang for round 3. Who are we? What are we doing here with the presumptuous MVP Shea Gilgeous Alexander?
Damn. Well, you gotta go. I feel like you gotta go one.
Mm,
I don't know. Really?
Shea, yeah, we got to put him at number 1
All right.
because
are we
like,
getting Ant in this one?
What's the
well, listen,
what's the
no matter who else
hesitation,
we get,
Spence?
it can't be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
What's
Your
the
number
argument
2 player.
against
I
one?
feel like Ant is gonna show in this series. He
Your
might be on
second-
SGA's level.
Your second player is indeed Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. But I like SGA at 1
So
though.
we locked in SGA at 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to put
And
yeah,
at 2
2.
makes sense though.
2. All right.
Your third player, Tyrese Halliburton.
Mm.
Well, let's think about this. Hold on, because he's gonna
Or-
give us
If,
Brunson.
Yeah.
Or
assuming
he's-
it's Brunson, I think we gotta put
Or Cat. But I think I've taken both of those guys over Halliburton low key.
I think
taking
Halliburton's
Cat
the
over
worst
Hallie?
star. Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
just
know.
feel like I don't like we talked about the whole overrated thing. I don't think Halliburton's overrated, but I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel like he shines as often as some of the other stars, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also feel like
Or
the kind of basketball that the Pacers play is kind of different than some of the other teams where they have like one guy just
Yeah,
playing hero ball.
that's a good point.
Not necessarily hero ball, but like you have one guy taking the lion's share of the shots.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, if he keeps winning, can't.
you don't know. I mean, you don't know who I'm picking for the last guy. I could pick Landry
I don't know.
Shamet.
What do you think?
I say 4. I say 4.
I might say
Mm.
4.
All right.
Okay.
Three.
He's
can
not
put
gonna
him
give
at
us a
4.
bum nick.
I was
He's
thinking
not gonna
3
give us a
though.
bum nick.
And the last player is Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
Okay, then we
So
win.
he's going in at 3.
Jalen Brunson. That's a perfect list.
That's a nice list.
I can agree with SGA at 1, but come on, man. Brunson over Ant. Are we serious?
Mm,
Nah.
any given.
I'm taking Ant over Brunson. You serious?
Depends on the day.
Nah,
But-
man.
Every
Well,
day.
I gotta say, round 3 could, I guess you guys could say that one was good, but I say you nailed round 1, and then round 2 is almost completely backwards.
Win some, you lose
Uh,
some.
Yep.
It's all right. It happens. Well, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about your Nets, Toby, in the draft lottery.
Ha.
It's
Oh
unfortunate.
yeah,
It's
that's right.
unfortunate
It's all
what
good.
happened.
Yeah, total shame.
The most rigged draft lottery in recent history.
All you have to
It's
do
all
is just trade your superstar, and then you get rewarded. So shout out the Mavericks, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you? I think that's a cool land. Like I totally understand the whole it's rigged, but I think that's a cool landing spot.
Oh yeah,
that no one expected.
that's
Nah,
probably
it's
the best
dumb.
landing spot.
It's dumb. Guy should be in Brooklyn, New York.
I mean, you get another year of Cam Thomas being the number 1 option, probably. Can't
Maybe
be all bad.
unless they decide to trade him and, I don't know, get a Giannis or something like that.
You
Giannis
think
is
Giannis
coming to
wants
the
to go to
Knicks, bro.
Brooklyn?
Giannis is coming to the Knicks.
I don't think Giannis wants to be in Brooklyn.
We're about to trade. We're about to trade Cat and Josh Hart for Giannis.
You're crazy.
Wow, guys giving up on the team that's in the conference
Uh,
Finals potential bound team.
Yeah,
No. I just saw
Based
it on
on what he's been
Instagram.
saying.
I just saw that on Instagram. I thought it was funny. Because realistically, it's not a bad trade. Realistically, it's not a bad trade, but we're good over here. About to win the championship. We don't need that guy.
you don't need it. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Could go to the Celtics though for Jaylen Brown and Kristaps.
Oh boy,
That ain't happening.
poor Celtics. That's another.
You don't
team
think so?
that's
That ain't gonna happen.
What about Kevin Durant?
What about Kevin Durant?
Where is he getting traded to?
Not
Lord
the
knows.
Knicks.
Very
I
interesting.
don't want him on the
offseason.
Knicks. I'd rather have Giannis, but I definitely don't want KD. The guy
He's
already.
probably going to the Timberwolves.
Really?
See him
I'd
as a
love to see
Timberwolf.
that. Love to
KD
see
on the
that.
Timberwolves would be interesting.
Would love to see that.
Maybe he'll come back to Brooklyn.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of trade rumors swirling around, so we'll see what happens.
We'll get to that. We'll have an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Off-season episode.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
Yeah.
Just
We can
all yap.
speculate. Pure
Pure
yap.
speculation.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Until then, I guess I don't know if you guys have any final words, final thoughts.
I just can't believe that the Knicks are finally going to win an NBA championship. I can't believe it.
Don't get too ahead of yourself. You got a whole series.
Like Jorie always says. You got to speak it into existence.
I guess.
Yeah. If you don't believe, who will?
I mean, bro, I know you clowns have to have seen the videos on Instagram, dude. The whole city of New York is filled after any win, after any game. We're lit.
They're about to be disappointed.
Best fans in sports, if we're being honest. The best
Oh
fans in
my
all of
gosh.
professional sports.
Here we
That's
go.
cap.
Oh, hold on. Actually, before we leave, did you guys see that guy Trey Young being a bozo?
What happened?
He went on Twitter and was like, hot take, but not really. OKC has better fans than the Knicks. And everybody in the comments was like, F Trey Young.
Nah, that might be
SMP,
facts. That might be facts.
I mean, honestly, it might be, but
That guy's been getting hate from Knicks fans since like
Yeah.
for years.
we beat the
Due for
Celtics and
engagement.
people outside MSG were chanting F Trey Young. Like the guy's
Guy's
been
always
out of the
catching
playoffs
strays
and
from Knicks fans.
he's still living rent free.
Yeah.
The Thunder fans have been showing out, though, I will say, because they're like
And
the only
been
fan
doing it.
base that does the shirt thing.
Oh yeah,
Like
where
the whole
everyone actually wears them.
The crowd is, yeah.
Been doing it, bro. OKC knows how to do a playoff basketball. I got to give it to him.
Yeah. So shout out the Thunder and their fan base. But, we'll see. We'll see which fan base is happy at the end of the season. I don't know.
I'm gonna be loving it.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, my team's the only team left at all you clowns. How's it feel?
You're about to be right in the same boat in a couple weeks.
No, sir. No,
Yeah.
sir.
You're gonna be up
Here,
on
you
this
know
banner
what? I'll
behind
tell you
me.
what.
Yeah. Book the flight.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Pack
you
your
what.
bags, buddy.
Game 4 is on Tuesday, May 27th. We're gonna know who's gonna be moving on by then.
Okay. Yeah, sure, buddy. Yeah, we gotta end this before I don't know.
Before any more outlandish takes come out of
Yeah.
these guys' mouths.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. And until next time, we'll be seeing you.